Hello. This is a quick comparison between the MP-01 mold, although this is Ultra Magnus, and the MP-10 mold. Just starting out, you can already tell there's a huge size difference. If I move Ultra Magnus to the side like this and show Prime, there's a good 3 inches difference in the length. And then about a little less than an inch difference in the height. And the back of the car, of the truck, there's actually a very small difference between these platforms. It's about a centimeter, maybe even not quite a centimeter. So certainly they are very differently proportioned and very differently sized. Messing up my towel. Shame on you. And as far as the fit to the figures, I have to say I think the MP-01 mold fits together better in alt mode, just because, well, the back tabs together, the arms go where they're supposed to, there's no gap here. For the most part, I think it's a far better fit. I mean, there's nothing that just isn't where it should be. I mean, the only problems are these pieces here, and they're not that important. With the MP-10, though, you do get some fitting issues. Like, there's a gap here, the arms don't quite go in right. Well, it's not that they don't go in right, it's that they don't go in as well as they should. And then, one thing that I talked about in the review is that it seemed like the legs wouldn't quite go together. I figured out why. If you look on the underside, there are these panels here. And these panels are actually a little bit too big. They bump into each other, and they're what force the legs apart. So if you want the legs to go together, layer one over the other. And that will fix the leg issue. Like on the forums, a lot of people were talking about squeezing them together until you hear it click, and then they'll stay together. All that's happening is one of these is forcing the other up. So, while the fit issues aren't as bad as they used to be, they are there. So, you've seen the difference in how they look. This one, kind of weird front, like especially how the windows go over, but for the most part, nice looking. This one has some fit issues, but for the most part, very good looking and very well detailed. But, see, here's the thing. With MP-01, or with MP-10, about the only gimmick you get in this mode is that you can put spike inside, and you have the trailer, but there's not much else you can do with the mode. With this, with an MP-01, well, you could still have the trailer if you have the MP-04 release, but then he also has shocks, and if you open up the front, there is still a seat detail in here, so it's not like you couldn't put a figure in there if you found one that fit. Or they won't fit quite snugly. It's more of a bonus on this figure, so in alt mode, they're about equal, because this one fits together better, although it doesn't look quite as good. This one looks really good, but doesn't fit together quite well, so they're about equal on those terms. And the only thing that makes this one better is that this one has so much die cast that when I lift it, I feel like this is just going to come toppling down off of the joint in here. And it is a little bit too long in the back, so those are the alt modes. Now I'll go to the robot mode, so let me get that set up real quick. So I have these guys in robot mode now, and the MP-01 mold towers over the MP-10 mold. While there was a significant difference in size in the alt modes, here it's, wow, really? MP-10 is that small in comparison? And yeah, it is kind of odd just how much there is size difference between these two. But it's not just size difference, there's also quite a few differences as far as the proportions go. Like, this Prime, not much space between his legs. This Prime, quite a bit of space between his legs. This Prime, the elbow is pretty high up on his arm. This Prime, a bit more proportionate about where the elbow should go. And just looking at them on the shelf, MP-01 is certainly the more impressive figure. It's bigger, it's bulkier, and from a distance, when the sculpting differences sort of fade away, it certainly does look like the better Prime. But up close, no contest, this is the better Prime, just because it has so much more detail to it, and it isn't quite so boxy or blocky. So, as far as aesthetics and size, they each have their pros and cons. I certainly think MP-01 is a better display piece from a distance, and MP-10 is a better play piece, especially considering the articulation differences. This Prime has quite a few more joints in the neck that give it some variance, and actually has a neck. This Prime, it's just a ball joint on the stock. You do get this, and that will pop off, and the neck doesn't look that great. Then the arms. I like the arms on MP-10 better because on this figure, well, you get this weird telescope joint that doesn't quite seem to work. It goes in and out first and then forward and back. You do get this joint, but it's still a little bit odd. I like the shoulders on MP-01, the mold, better. Because here, it's more what you would expect. It's forward and back, then out. You still have this joint, and it's just more what you would expect. And then as far as another difference, this guy has all his fingers are individually jointed, and he has a thumb that moves. This figure, thumb doesn't move. The bottom three fingers are together. But he does have one thing MP-01 doesn't, which is a bending index finger. So, the hands, I say about even, because this hand can't hold stuff very well, but is somewhat articulate. This hand holds stuff very well, and has articulation where it matters. And next is the articulation of the legs. Forward, 1, 2, about 3, and you don't have much choice about where it stops. And the die cast in the legs, kind of a bit much, especially coupled with the die cast up here. With this guy, we're all plastic. Maybe with die cast feet, a lot better. And then his legs go out. And if you try and make him go out anymore, there's a little lip on the thigh here, and that'll catch this moving skirt piece. If you don't move this out of the way, if you notice, that's starting to bend down a little bit. That can break your figure. Then he has quite a bit here, but again, the die cast prevents it from really being useful. And then he has very limited ball jointed feet. They don't do quite as much as they need to, and they're ball joints on a very top heavy and very heavy figure. So really, the best stance for this guy is just straight up and down, because otherwise you run the risk of him breaking. Or breaking if he falls. This Prime, the ratchet gradations are a lot nicer, and because he's lighter, he can support quite a few poses, and these are hinges, so even if one joint is loose, it can be fixed and quite easily, and it's not going to pop off. So certainly this figure has far better legs. And I realize there's no way this is all going to stay on camera. Just the way it is. Two pretty big figures. So, and also no risk of breaking off the leg or anything, because the skirt here is molded around where it doesn't interfere with the articulation too much. So, pros and cons. Better arms, better legs. And they both have matrix compartments. Empty here, not empty here. Open this. And it lights up. So, which do I recommend? I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what you're after. If you want a prime that's fun to play with and looks good on the shelf, I go for this guy. If you want a prime that's just massive and impressive, go with that guy. If you're on the budget, definitely go with this one, because despite that the materials cost more, it's still cheaper. Partially because the aftermarket reflects demand, and this thing's been out for a long time. And then also because this is a new figure and has new design costs, so higher demand too. So really, it's up to you. I mean, I like both of them. They both have their own reasons. I probably like MP-10 better. That doesn't mean that it's the better purchase. It just means I like the legs better. Because certainly with this figure, about the only quality control you'll run into is that the chest pieces in robot mode don't quite... Hey, you stay standing up. This one will lock in, this one doesn't. That's the only quality control issue I've had with this. This guy, he has stress marks and weak shoulders. So, there's not much else really to say. It's whichever is your cup of tea. And those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching.